UFC 306 was a night to remember for so many reasons as the octagon hit Sphere for the first time and maybe the last time. Also, it was a big night for Ray Longo, who was in the corner of Merab Dvalishvili. Ray, I don't think you guys could have drawn it up any better. Maybe you don't have your guy disengaged with 10 seconds left and almost need a right hand. But that was the kind of night it was. There was a lot of, for two guys that have never fought one another, there was a lot of history between these guys. And I think you saw that early. What was going through your mind when Merab starts the fight and he and Tim Welch are like verbally arguing with one another? What was going on there?
I mean, so there's like what you say is correct. There's history because of the Aljo thing,
Right.
and there's history because of how close Aljo is with Marab. So if Welch did anything to Aljo, Marab's obviously going to defend him. Going, you know what I mean, going in there, and that's why I think even when he started running around, I was taken back, to be honest with you. I was like, Jesus Christ, concentrate on the fight.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure what the cornering, what the big deal is with the corner screaming. I mean, if you've ever been to a fight at the Apex, sometimes I'm talking to the other corner and they're talking to me like he's running out of gas. No, he isn't. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Right.
know. There's if you're in and if you come in the corner and like me and Sarah were in the corner, we're torturing the guy. You know, you can't win a fight like that. I don't know. So
Yeah.
I mean, I told the story, I think, on Anik. I think Parisian gave me the finger one time during Matt's fight. I think Henzo said something to him. He
Yeah.
thought it was me. He gave me the finger, I'll be honest with you. Parisian was a wacky dude back then. He
Mm.
turned out to be a really, really nice guy. We laughed about it,
Right.
like really laughed about
Well,
it. I thought he was a really nice guy, Carol. But
it's all about competition, Ray. And
yeah,
sometimes there's gamesmanship. And I think that, I remember when Steve Mazzagatti verbally yelled at Nick Diaz when he was fighting Robbie Lawler and said, no talking. Nowhere in the unified rules does it
yeah,
say you're not
right.
allowed to talk, you know?
Yeah,
So,
so like I don't know. It's like look, you're playing little league baseball. No batter, no batter, no batter, no batter. No
right.
batter. Yeah, I don't know. I you got to be able to go through it. I'm going to say so. My reaction was I was surprised Marab got that caught up in it, but he was already caught up in it because of Aljo, and I
Right.
think that put a magnifying glass on it. That's my take on it, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
Understood. Let's talk about the fight at hand because, you and I talked about it earlier in the week. I thought that Merab had to be perfect. And for 25 minutes, he was pretty darn near perfect. 49-46 on my scorecard. There was a clear game plan that you guys stuck to. It's not the most crazy sort of game plan. I think you just need to look
No,
at both
yeah,
fighters and figure out, yeah,
yeah,
this is
right.
a path to victory. But to effectively pull it off the way that he did over the better part of 25 minutes, that is what is impressive. What was your biggest takeaway on, why Merab was able to do what he did?
Uh, Look, there was a lot of unknowns going in there. I think we spoke about too. You don't really know, but I will say this: when that fight started, and I saw O'Malley like throwing the right hand to the body, and he just looked like I turned to Wood. I go, dude, he can't knock him out. Like that's definitely not enough to do it. Like the way he was pushing his punches. So from that moment on, I felt pretty confident, and he never really got his rhythm going with the punches because if Marab didn't commit to him, he's more of a counterpuncher. He just maybe that's why he looked slow. He wasn't committing either because he didn't want to get taken down. So that it was like for Marab, it was all the way in or all the way out. You know what I mean? And his movement's always herky jerky. So I think you know it's always harder to hit a moving target than a guy standing right in front of you. If you look at O'Malley's, with the exception of Aljo, he snipes guys that are standing there in front of him with their hands at their ass most of the time.
Yeah.
That what I looked at. So I was surprised he came out and was moving forward. I thought he would have laid back and tried to get Marab to come to him a little bit more, but he kind of went on the attack. And then I think Marab's awkward movement just offset him.
Yeah, Dean Thomas had a great quote during the fight, and he said, I know everyone talks about how Sean O'Malley's a sniper, but Merab is a target that is like a butterfly in a windstorm.
Yeah,
It was
right.
accurate.
That's kind of the way I was looking at it, is that look, it's so like again, it's always harder to hit a moving target. If you're going to stand in front of him, the other thing, TJ too, is he didn't face the competition that
Right.
Merab faced. You know what I mean? Like that was another thing that played into it. I mean, Jose Aldo can strike, Peter Yan can strike, O'Malley can strike. He's a different striker, but it's not like you know, it's not that much of a difference. So it's not like he hasn't been in there with anybody. Marlon Moraes can strike. I mean, like he had the better competition going in. I think that's part of part of the thing. I mean, even with who was it? I mean, even they give him his first title defense against Cheeto Vera. Now Cheeto's a good guy; it has nothing to do with him. But that was you knew he was going to beat him. You know what I mean? Like it was, they gave him somebody that so he could get a title defense off of that. I really believe that. It's almost like, how about this, TJ? How about Merab says now he doesn't want to fight Umar. He wants to fight Frankie Science to get back his loss.
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah, let me
mean, that,
let me fight Ricky Simone again. I want to get
right.
back. Like, what is that? Getting back a loss? You have rankings, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what are the rankings for? Now he's in a murderer's row of people. He's going to have to fight now to get back in there, and let's see what happens.
Right. No, 100%. I think that there's a lot of interesting fights too now for Merab moving forward.
Yeah,
Umar's a guy that's right there. They immediately shifted or tried to shift his attention to it. I understand Joe Rogan's got a tough job sometimes. He's going to ask these questions about what's next for you. And
yeah,
like Merab has had the belt wrapped around his waist for 30 seconds.
yeah.
All 30 seconds.
Listen. Hey, T, how about this? If you ask Dana during the press conference, what's next for Israel on side? Let me enjoy this, and we got to
Right.
think about it. That's good then. But for poor Marab and Aljo, in the middle of him speaking after beating Henry Cejudo, they got this guy, like a ninja behind his back, waiting to, you know, get his 2 cents, like get 2 cents, and it doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah.
it's. I guess you try to control the narrative as much as you can control the narrative.
Yeah.
But that's it. O'Malley never fought anybody after 3 months of a fight. I don't believe, not in the last couple of years, but they wanted Aljo to take that fight.
Now, let me ask you this. How much was this an emotional sort of accomplishment for Merab beyond just capturing the belt for him? Because, this is an individual sport, but like you said, there's history there. And a lot of that history comes back to Aljamain Sterling. And,
Yeah.
how much of that sort of played into what this, achievement was for Merab?
That's that. I mean, as opposed to fighting for his country, like that
Yeah.
type of
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean,
I
like,
mean, I think it was a little. I don't think it's going beyond his pride of his country, though.
sure.
Like
I
you saw
understand that.
that breakdown. Like I've never seen that guy get like that. Like
Yeah.
he knew it was something special. I'm not going to say Aljo's thing was a part of that. I think after he sits down and thinks about it, he'll think like that. But I think the first initial reaction was, man, I'm a champion. He's already like the mayor over there or the president. Now it's just forget about it. So I think it was more knowing where he came from and the struggles he went through and the trials and tribulations, whatever you want to say. I
Sure.
think that's the difference. I think it all hit him at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the emotions because again, we talked about the yelling at the very beginning of the fight,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
him disengaging after the whole sort of kissing scenario, which I've never
Yeah.
seen in an MMA fight.
uh,
Did you have to calm him down at all in the corner after that, or was he just playing games while still being as deadly focused as he needed to be?
well, wait, first of all, just even with the kissing was strange. It was different, but I almost go back to this is very similar. See if you agree or disagree, and
Sure.
I'm pulling this out of my ass, but it reminds me of when Randy Couture was smacking Tito on the ass.
Right.
It's a humiliation thing. It's
Yeah.
like I could hold you down and smack you on the ass, and you can't do nothing about it. It's almost like I think that's what it was with Morale. I got you in a choke. He said he looked up at the clock. He couldn't finish it. So I think psychologically, I think that's a big thing for him. You want a guy kissing you while you can't move. You know what I mean? That's why I think you saw O'Malley spring up. he should have fought like that the whole fucking night. That was the only time he looked like he was pissed, and he
Right.
really went at him. The
Yep.
other times he just stood there. So
Yeah, no, 100%. In the fifth round, he had Merab hurt. Looked like Merab was hurt to the body. He was able to survive. What was going through your mind in that, fifth and final round where it looked like Merab had to kind of go on the run just a little bit to ensure
yeah,
that O'Malley couldn't capitalize?
well, that was probably what was going through my mind. I mean, I knew we had to fight one at that point, and I didn't think a body shot was actually going to do it, even though he did go to hold his body and it looked like that.
Yeah.
I just knowing him, I knew that they were going to have to kill him to get him out of there. And then I think I probably just started watching the clock and hoping it moved a little quick and just get to the end of the fight. I knew we had to fight. That was the role I really gave a shit about. But I was surprised. But I mean, he did look through the course of the night. He was hitting that body with his right hand a lot, and then he kicked him in the body. And I guess over time, it's like dividends. They paid off at the end, and he almost, could have did something. But I don't think it was that close. But he did show. He did show he was human. He got hurt a little bit, but
Right.
nothing. Knowing him, I didn't think that was going to be a play into it. But at that point, I wanted the fight to end. Just like get the belt around him, and that's it.
Well, you knew that the fight was in the bag as much as anyone could. When I heard the judges' scorecards, though, I was a little bit shocked that it was a 48-47 twice. I had a 49-46.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, the fifth round, I think you give to O'Malley. The two judges that did score 48-47 for Merab, they gave the third to O'Malley. I'd have to go
Right.
back and
So
watch it, but difficult for me to make an argument just off the top of my memory as to
right.
why O'Malley could have won that round.
Well, I think look, but then the judges on that particular, they're not far off. So at least if they would have scored like the fourth round or the second round for O'Malley, then
Right.
there's bad. But the round was definitely close. I think what everybody's feeling, this is what I feel, but it doesn't coincide with the scoring, is that fight, like when you hear 48-47, you think it was a close fight. That fight,
Right. Yeah.
no way, shape, or form was even close. But that's when I think when you want a guy to win the fight and you have any little gray area in there that you could defend, they gave that round to O'Malley.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, God forbid he ever did anything of substance. You know who was winning that fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Um, I mentioned it was a historic night. The Sphere,
yeah.
a place that is unlike any other in entertainment, and I guess now sports with the UFC running that building. What was it like for you? Were you able to step back and look at the tail of the tape or anything like that and enjoy what is potentially a once in a lifetime experience?
I don't think I could enjoy it like everybody else enjoyed it, but in between one of the fights on the main card, I tried to get out there and see as much as I can, and yeah, it was the graphics, everything was really nice and big, but yeah, I can't say I enjoyed it because I was in the back the whole freaking time, and.
Have you had a chance to see any of the comments made by Sean O'Malley? Because I think it's really important for an athlete to be graceful in victory, but more so in defeat. And he really kind of owned his loss. He didn't say anything negative about, why things didn't go his way. Didn't say anything negative about Merab or tactics. I saw a lot of people talking about wrestling and stalling and how we need to change the rules, which I think is nonsense. But
Stupid.
but O'Malley seemed to actually take this in stride and will probably be better for it.
Yeah, I think he was always that guy. He's not a guy really starting shit or talking a lot of crap, right? I don't remember that, but
I mean, he lost that fight to Cheeto and still called himself undefeated, and I think sometimes that's a bad look. Even though it was an
yeah,
injury, I get that. He wasn't necessarily beaten by
right,
Cheeto, but
right,
sometimes I mean he doesn't necessarily talk a lot of smack, Ray, but he knows how to stir the pot.
right. I'll go with that. Yeah, yeah. But I think it's more in his response to things. He's not
Yeah,
initiating, but yeah, I think he said that Marab was just stronger than him. That was the one thing he did.
yeah.
He felt it, and I guess it wore on him a little bit more. But uh, he's they seem. I don't know what the hell they seem. Him and Welch, they got their own thing going.
Yeah.
I think they're in a happy spot. I think they already won the war. They got them, or at least they appear to have a lot of money. And I think, they they were saying the after fight party was great, and like me, I'd be fucking miserable, But
Right.
and I'm not saying that's right, but um,
To each their own, Ray.
teach their own. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Those are two different cats than I'm used to. Put it that way. I'm not.
Yeah.
That I mean that they're bad guys, or I don't really get caught up in a lot of this shit. That's why I say even the talking and they asked me about when he was screaming Aljo out. It's all what it is, man. I'm not. I'm not. I look. I could be criticized too with a lot of things that. But definitely people that don't know me get a totally different impression of who I am. Which what are you gonna do? But those guys they're a little different, but I think they're good guys. Like you say,
Yeah.
gracious losers, and they weren't making excuses, and kind of analytical. Yeah, so I respect that. Yeah,
Well, all you can do is worry about being you. They can be
yeah,
them, and
that's
we all
it.
move on, move forward. Merab Dvalishvili now the UFC's bantamweight champ, and congrats to Merab. Congrats to you, Ray. Another champion from your stable.
Like another crazy, crazy. What a ride this has been.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
think about
real.
it. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. He comes in from Dana White's looking for a fight when he wasn't even the guy that was on the radar.
There's no question. Oh, he was brought in to lose. That's 100% true.